Kentucky basically represents culture to me. It has a mix of Southern and Northern culture. But it also gives you a sense of down-home feeling. You feel comfortable with people. People, when they interact, willing to shake your hand and help you if need. Name is Dan Campbell, currently living in Danville, Kentucky. Well, I'm a semi-retired real estate broker. Born and raised in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Lived in Wisconsin pretty much all my life, except for a tour of duty at Fort Campbell, Kentucky with the 101st Airborne Division in the early 60s. I have a degree in business and a degree in agriculture. Farmed almost 1,400 acres at one point. Built up my farming operation and developed my real estate business. I had a broker's license from 1987 in Wisconsin. Currently still have that broker's license here in Kentucky, so I've had it for over 40 years. And relocated to Kentucky in 2005. Well, I actually started in agriculture when I was about 13 years old. I hired out on a dairy farm. Things were tough as a family growing up financially, and my father was bedridden for a number of years. I had 3 younger siblings, and so whatever we could earn a few bucks, it was helpful. And enjoyed the farming aspect of it, always had. And I always assured myself when I went into the service at age 19, and when I got out, I was going to buy a farm and move on from there. So I kept building the inventory on farms and lands. That's my passion, I guess you might want to call it. The opportunity then to promote myself through real estate and a broker's license, it gave me a lot of opportunity to not only help myself, but earn income by helping others. And what I found here is that realtor-wise, very few actually selling farms and lands. And that was my specialty. I'd studied soils for almost 20 years, and obviously with the agriculture background I had, it just complemented my intent of being here. But Danville gave me the opportunity to pursue what I was really looking for. Before they got here, Danny had informed me that they're thinking about putting up a distillery. So my background with William Crow Farm, with one of the residents being Guy Jones, who lived there during Prohibition, and he actually had a still on the farm, and he bootlegged moonshine throughout. I thought, what a beautiful combination to try to bring something like that together. It was an intriguing piece of property for me, not just because of the old home. I look at from the farming aspect. The soils that accompany that particular farm are some of the top soils in Kentucky, and accordingly they'll grow an excellent crop if it's maintained properly. And because of the size of the property and the tillable acreage, my thought was, coming from a farming background, you can become self-sufficient. You can raise your own crops, produce your product, take your stillage, feed cattle, market the cattle, take the manure from the cattle back to the ground, and you do a full circle type operation. Francesco drove down and he had 4 or 5 people with him. So I met with them, we had breakfast, and we went out starting looking at land, because in the interim time I had already gone and searched out and probably found 4 or 5 different farms that, not knowing exactly what he wanted, would be a little more receptive to what they're looking for. Anyway, they came down, we looked at 4 or 5 different farms that I'd shown them, and they called back and they came back again, and then we kept going back to the William Crow Farm. And Guy Jones had actually published a book called The Last Barnstormer. And I got a copy and gave it to Francesco, and he read that, and that just intrigued him that much more. And then your mind starts to wander, what can we build on this? How can we do it? How can we make things happen? What I see in the bourbon industry is extreme demand for bourbon right now, not just in the continental United States, but throughout the world. And we're seeing more and more of that. So the bourbon industry here in Kentucky, where we have excellent water that produces the bourbon, we've got the crops, we've got the temperature for storage in the bricks for the barrels to store at a rate that gives it the quality flavor. I think the real bourbon industry is just taking off. And as we get more and more international, you're going to see more production, obviously. And Kentucky being one of the few states that actually can accommodate the bourbon industry. I look at it from that point. I look at bourbon as being an industrial factor. Again, I look at trying to help communities with their tax bases and jobs, so on and so forth. That's my goal, and yet still retain the agriculture aspect of it. If people come to that, when people come to that facility, when it's complete, I hope that they would experience uniqueness in interaction with other people, with different small businesses that could be out there. Just a warm, calm type thing, experience just people interacting in a positive way. Not to mention the detail that's gone into it, the time and effort that's gone into it to get to where we're at today. But more importantly, I think it would help not just that business, but the whole city of Danville and the community.